Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Nine Frames podcast. The season is upon us, and tomorrow is opening day. This is episode 85, and it is Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. I am Bill Whalen.
And I'm Mike Whalen.
Be sure to catch us, as always, on YouTube at Nine Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow us on there, subscribe, like, comment, and share if you enjoy the show.
Yeah, we finally made it. Those long 6 months of the off season that it feels like every single year. We're back.
It was another pretty slow week of news, so we didn't talk about it much. The Dodgers and the Padres ended up splitting that sole series. Ended up scoring only 1 run difference. What was it, 17 run for one team, 16 for the other, or 16 and 15?
Yeah, and it's because that second game was 15-11.
Pretty wild to see. So a pretty even start to the season and a 1-1 split in the sole series. But now we will make our full predictions for the 2024 season, which, honestly, it's looking to be a fun one.
Yeah, we'll get right into it. We're going to start with the National League, and I feel like it would be fitting to just begin with listing our division winners and then the 3 wild card teams in the order that we think that they're going to finish.
Yeah, basically we're starting this episode out and starting both of the leagues out by running down how we think this season's going to go for the teams overall.
So by default, since I think they're going to be the best team in baseball, we'll start in the NL West. I think everybody is probably going to have the same here. The Los Angeles Dodgers have to be the heavy favorite, and I'm going to be picking them to win the West this year.
Yeah, I think you're kind of foolish if you don't, and you're trying to be different, so...
Next, I'll go over to the NL East. No shock here either. I'm going to have to pick the Braves. It's been their division for the last 6 years, it's felt like, since the Nationals won that one, maybe 5-6 years now. So, yeah, I'm taking the Braves because it's just theirs until they lose it. Then I'll go to the NL Central. Got a new champion this year. It was the Brewers last year. I think the move of Craig Counsell over to the Cubs is going to propel them. He's a great manager. We all know that.
Pricey move. We'll see if it pays off.
Definitely, but they did bring their guy Cody Bellinger back. They brought over Imanaga. They've got a good team. They were pushing at the end last year, and they just fell a little bit short. I think the Cubs are going to take the Central this year, and Craig Counsell is going to be a big reason why.
Interesting you bring up Counsell. He is the current reigning NL Central manager. Like he won it, you know what I mean? But was he manager of the year last?
No,
but I mean he was the manager that won this division last year. So he's coming into this with a lot of prior knowledge of the Brewers specifically.
Yep. And
not to mention the Cubs, they went a while without making a transaction, but then they made a late push. They got Bellinger back, they got Imanaga, like you said. Good little offseason for them.
Yeah, so those are my 3 picks for the NL, the Dodgers, Braves, and Cubs. And then in the wild card, I have the Phillies being the 1 wild card, the San Francisco Giants as the wild card 2. They had an insanely good offseason.
Really good offseason.
They played up late. They were quiet in the beginning. I mean, not really quiet. They were trying. They just swung and missed on a lot of guys. They were in on Yamamoto. They were, I think, in on Ohtani even.
Yeah.
Just unlucky, but they still end up getting Soler, Chapman. They added a lot of good pieces. Jordan Hicks, we were just saying, has looked really good this spring training.
New leadoff hitter from a foreign land as well, Young Ho Lee.
So I think, and also with the addition of Bob Melvin. It's another great manager going from the Padres to the Giants now. Who knows information about division rivals.
I see good things for them as well. When I get into my picks, I'll let you guys know.
And then for the final wild card spot, people are going to call me a homer for this one, but I really think that the New York Mets have a solid chance in that wide open National League to make a run for that last wild card spot, and I'm giving it to them.
Yeah, I do find that interesting. I look at your teams here, and I do see that you have excluded the reigning NL champions, who had a very good offseason.
Yeah.
The Arizona Diamondbacks did not make the playoffs.
Yeah, the reason that I did that was because the National League West is such a bloodbath now with those 4 teams, man. The Dodgers, Giants, Padres, and D-backs. They're going to be battling all year. They play each other so much, and I just feel like maybe the D-backs will have some natural regression in some players, you know. It just kind of happens that way. But I don't know. I think they'll just miss. And if they don't, they'll be the ones that take the 3rd wild card from the Mets. It was also just hard to put 3 wild card teams from one division, but it could fully happen. We saw it last year with the the AL East, three playoff teams.
Most definitely. Your lineup here has the Cubs playing the Mets in the first round and the Phillies playing the Giants. I think that'd be some pretty interesting matchups for sure.
Yeah, so those are my picks for the National League.
Yeah, I'll move it on over to mine now. These are Bills' picks for the National League, and I'm going to start just like you. There's not much to say about this one. This is the National League West as well for me. This is the Dodgers taking it, and I think they're going to have a nearly historic season where you see them maybe get towards 100 and something wins. You know what I mean? I don't know.
110.
I don't want to say 110, but that might be where you see them hang around. And it's going to be a crazy year for the Dodgers because that roster is so deep. We saw they melted down in that second game in the Seoul series, let up so many runs, and they still nearly came back. They were within one run late in the game.
Yeah, they still put up 11 runs. It took giving up 15 to lose. I don't think they're going to be giving up 15 very often.
Not very often at all. And my second one here is very much like yours as well. We're going to kind of sound like a broken record on this, but the National League East has been the Braves for a long time, and I think it is a bit foolish to think that it's going to be anyone else's. I could see the Phillies taking it.
Yeah.
I could, because the Phillies beat the Braves out a lot, but in the regular season and the long marathon that is the Major League regular season, the Braves often beat the Phillies out, and I think this happens again.
Yeah, like I said, also, it's just until somebody takes it, I'm giving it to them.
It's funny. I think our American League is going to be very different, but our National League is looking a lot of the same for our division winners. My division winner for the National League Central will be the Chicago Cubs. I think they had a very good late offseason, like I said. Imanaga and bringing Bellinger back are a couple of great moves. They got great pitchers. They have... What, did Justin Steele finish third or fourth in the NL Cy Young?
He was up there, yeah.
Regardless, really great season by that lefty. He's going to be great. Starting opening day for them going to be exciting. And
still got Hendricks.
I got them for the Central because I think it's wide open, and I think the Brewers didn't do enough.
Yep, and also I just think the Reds are just a little bit behind still.
Agree with that as well, and that little bit behind has me having them miss the playoffs as well. You also had them miss the playoffs. My fourth seed is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, my thing with the Reds mainly was I looked at their pitching staff, and it is just not good.
Not good enough. This is a team that I thought was going to bring in Sonny Gray. They didn't do that.
They
I think that would have been huge. Blake Snell, huge.
Been Jordan Montgomery,
huge.
Yep.
Those would have been huge moves.
Yep, their pitching just looks a bit flat to me.
Moving it on over to the wild card teams, I see you had the Phillies in the 4th spot. I also have the Phillies in the 4th spot. I think it's hard to take them anywhere else because I really do think they're going to make a push against the Braves for the NL East, but I don't think it's going to be enough in the end. I think the Braves are too deep of a team. But I do think the Phillies are built better for the playoffs. And they show that every year.
Yeah, they beat the Braves 2 years in a row.
Your 5-seed team was
the
Giants. My 5-seed team here is going to be the reigning National League champions, the D-backs. I looked at their pitching depth chart this morning, man, and wow, it is deep. They have now their 3 pitcher, who was literally their last pitcher in the playoffs last year, considering starting, Brandon Pfaadt. He is now their 5 pitcher, and he would be coming out of the pen deep in the playoffs if we were looking at it now.
We got so caught up in the predictions, we didn't even mention that Jordan Montgomery just signed with the D-backs.
Jordan Montgomery probably looking to be, what will he be, the 4 starter
I
there?
think.
That's crazy.
They also brought in Eduardo Rodriguez.
A team that he just defeated this team in the World Series, and now he will be taking it on over to Arizona. He's a great lefty option for them. So now they have Gallen, Merle Kelly. They got Eduardo Rodriguez and now Brandon Pfaadt and Jordan Montgomery at the bottom.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Just awesome. I'm surprised that you had them missing the playoffs.
Yeah, it was tough. Like I said, it comes down to how many times the NL East or the NL West is going to be playing each other.
Mm-hmm. I hear what you're saying, and I think for that reason, this is what hurt me personally. I hear that you gave the Mets the 6th seed here. I personally looked at the depth charts, and I looked at the fact that Senga's on the IL starting the season for a bit.
They got depth, though.
Yeah, I look at it, and I do give the 6th seed to the San Francisco Giants. I think the Giants will be getting in. I do think the Mets will end up being the 7th seed, which is going to be a heartbreaker. I'll be watching all year as a Met fan and hoping that they pull it out, but my honest predictions, is that the Giants pull it out and get that 6th seed, which is going to be huge for them as they match up with the Cubs in the first round.
And we can't forget about the Padres, too. Like, they'll be in the mix as well. They got a very good ball club.
Yeah, I think they would end up being the 8th seed in my scenario there, with the Marlins probably being 9th and the Reds being 10th. It'll be a pretty tight race in the NL, much like it was last year.
So now we'll shift over on to the AL. So moving on over to the AL, I think the number one team in the American League this year is going to be the defending champions, the Texas Rangers. That team looks disgusting again. They've got Max Scherzer on IL. They got Jacob deGrom, who might be coming back. They got Tyler Mahle, people don't even remember about, and that offense is just a unit. So I have them winning the West, obviously, and being the number one overall seed.
Interesting. You have Texas finally being able to overcome Houston and take the West.
Well,
and you have them getting the best team in the AL.
They did just beat them in the ALCS and then win their first World Series in franchise history, so why couldn't they?
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. I don't know. They're not a team that really improved too much in the offseason, though.
They've got Wyatt Langford, who made the roster. He's going to be
22 years old.
And then also Evan Carter's going to have a full season. So they did quietly improve because their young guys are going to be making more of an impact.
Yeah, we shall see.
My number 2 seed is going to be the American League East champion Baltimore Orioles. They're going to repeat as champions. They did get better this offseason with the acquisition of Corbin Burns, who is the favorite for Cy Young amongst many. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think the Orioles are going to repeat, and that division is hell, by the way. So it's going to be a bloodbath to get there. But I think they're gonna they did it last year. They'll do it again this year.
Fully agree. That East is going to be tough, and that West, is going to be equally tough.
And those boys have full faith in Brandon Hyde at this point, the manager of the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah,
so
reigning AL manager of the year, and he had to be.
It was
that
great.
was the Cinderella story of last year, coming back from being a 100-loss team to be a 100-win team. Incredible.
And here's where we get a little bit janky here. We get to the 3 seed, the American League Central. It's up in the air. We all know that.
Couldn't be more wide open.
So I'm taking the Detroit Tigers this year.
Interesting.
I think that they improved. I think that they're gonna win the close games. I mean, it's just Tarek Skubal's going to step up as the ace of this team. I just got a feeling about them this year. And like, the Guardians don't impress me. The Twins, I could see them doing it again, but they don't really impress me that much either. The Royals, I do think, are going to make a jump because they did improve. They had a busy offseason as well with Lugo and Waka and Renfroe. They added a bunch of players. Yeah, and then the White Sox are the White Sox. But I think the Tigers are gonna be the ones that pull it out this year. This is the year of the Tigers.
Yeah, I find that an interesting take on the AL Central. Mine is very different from yours. I will explain that in a bit, but yeah, take it on over to your wild card teams.
Yeah, so now we're going to get into the wild card teams. My first wild card, I'm giving it to the Seattle Mariners. I think they made they were just there last year. They made the playoffs 2 years ago. They were just there at the end. They didn't squeak in. Unfortunately, because I think they could have made some noise, man. I was a fan of the Mariners last year. I think this is the year that they do make it again, and they have a little more success.
And in this prediction, you have them having a superior season to the Houston Astros.
I do. My 5 seed is the Toronto Blue Jays. 2 teams are making it from the American League East. There's no way that only the division winner happens to make it.
Can't debate you on that.
I think that the Rays are going to be a little bit worse this year, obviously, because they won 99 games. It's going to be hard to replicate that with just, I mean, they're not going to have their shortstop again.
Simply put, their ace is still hurt.
Their ace is on
Well,
the
not
Dodgers.
Glasnow. I'm talking McClanahan here.
I know, I'm just saying.
McClanahan's still on the IL. Glasnow over on the Dodgers. Yeah, Zach Eflin is the ace over there.
Yeah,
so this is a very different ball club that we've seen in recent years, and I think that's a good pick. I think it's yeah, you didn't have the so you said the Jays there, not the Rays.
Yeah, the Blue Jays.
I think that's a good pick there.
That Jays lineup is scary, man. With the addition of Justin Turner, who had a great year last year, I think Vladdy's going to be better than he was last year. Bo Bichette. I mean, George Springer's still
Solid
leading off.
pitching too.
They
Don't
got
knock the pitching. Yeah.
Kevin Gausman was what, second or third in Cy Young last year?
I believe he was second.
So
yeah.
I think the
No, he was third.
The Blue Jays did make the playoffs last year.
Yes,
We saw
did.
they were the ones that helped break the Twins' playoff drought. They did beat the Blue Jays in the wild card round, but they did make it, and I do think they will make it again. And then lastly, my final wild card spot is going to go to the Houston Astros.
Wow.
The reason for this is that I can't bet against them. I just can't. I can't imagine them not making the playoffs.
But you have him in the 6th.
Yeah, I have them in the last spot, and it has a large part to do with pitching question marks. They don't have a lot of pitching. They're relying on 41-year-old Justin Verlander to have another good year. I mean, he was good last year, I will admit. He had a 3.22, but he's already hurt. He's starting the season on the IR.
A lot of injuries.
IL.
Starting, Matt. What is it, 4?
Yeah, they're down to like Framber, and then they're piecing together. That's what I'm saying.
Definitely understandable.
They've got a lot of questions, but I just cannot imagine them not making the playoffs, so I'm giving them that 6th spot.
Understandable for sure.
And like I just said about the NL, 3 teams in the NL West not making it. 3 teams in the AL West I do have making the playoffs this year in the American League. The Rangers, Mariners, and Astros.
That would see the incredibly experienced Astros team match up with the Tigers team in the first round, and I think that might be a death sentence for the Tigers there.
Yeah, it would be a tough draw, but who knows? I mean, we'll see how the Tigers pull it together this year, man. I really have a good feeling about it. I hope I'm not wrong.
Yeah, another series you would see is Mariners-Blue Jays. That would be 2 young, hungry teams fighting for it. That'd be really fun to watch.
Yeah, so...
another fun, man, it's so exciting coming into this 2024 season. There's a lot that could happen.
Yeah, predictions are fun, too, because, I mean, we could be completely wrong, but who cares? You know, it's all for fun.
Definitely true. I am going to honestly pick the same first place team as you again in the AL here. This is Bill's picks in the American League. I am going with the Baltimore Orioles. This young core, a lot of studs. They add a former Cy Young here.
You have them repeating as the number 1 seed?
I do, and I have them probably winning 100-plus games again.
Wow.
I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised by that.
I wouldn't either.
I think this is a stud or a young core of a bunch of studs here, pitchers and hitters alike. And now we're adding even more. The bullpen's only going to get even better as they progress because they're young as well. And I think they're going to have a year, and they're going to run away with the East, which is, like you said, going to be a bloodbath, but I don't think anybody's keeping up with them.
No.
My second-place team is very different from you. My second seed in the AL will be the AL West winning Houston Astros. I don't think you can keep them away. I think the depth that they can find in their organization is basically unmatched by anybody except for the Dodgers, and maybe you could argue the Braves. But I go with the Houston Astros here taking the AL West. I think it will be a slight edge. We saw last year they tied, but they ended up getting the tiebreaker over the Texas Rangers. This year I give it to the Houston Astros as well. I think they'll be the second seed.
Yeah, I mean, I'll never blame you for picking the Astros. They've literally, it's the same as the Braves. The pitching was the question mark for me, and I just think this is, like you said, they tied last year with the Rangers and they had the tiebreaker. This is the year the Rangers just pull a little bit ahead, but I definitely respect the Astros because they've been so successful.
And my third seed here is my absolute champion of this season. I think they are going to be the Cinderella story of 2024. The Kansas City Royals are going to go.
God.
The Kansas City Royals are going to go from last place to first place. And I think they're going to have a hell of a season. We're going to see them get to 87 wins,
What
something
the
like
hell
that.
makes you think they're improving by 31 wins?
You said it. The addition of all of those pitchers that you named, Seth Lugo, Michael Wacha, and they have Cole Reagans and Brady Singer. That's a pretty deep starting pitching system there.
Yeah, if they could put it together.
Now they added Will Smith, who's been so successful not only in the regular season, but if they can get there
You
in
got
the
them.
postseason.
You got them having the Will Smith success.
So now Will Smith's over there. I mean, not to mention, it's a pretty deep bullpen. It's a pretty good bullpen. That AL Central is wide open, and I think this is going to be your Brandon Hyde situation this year, where the Royals are going to be the team that I'm probably going to have the most fun watching this summer.
I just can't see them with a 31-win increase. That would be like historic levels of turnaround, but if you end up being right, man, this would be a crazy call out.
Not to mention Bobby Witt Jr. last year batting .276. He had 30 home runs, 96 RBI. How many steals? What was it?
50-something?
57,
Yeah,
59.
something like that, yeah.
He's insane.
Yeah.
He's only getting better. He's just signed his extension. I mean, this guy...
He is their franchise player.
Yes, he is. And this team is only getting better. They are taking that AL Central, and they're going to be that third seed. I can't wait to watch them this year.
Respect for the bold pick.
My fourth seed here it's not so different from what you said, but you had them as the AL's best. That's why I was interested. I got the Texas Rangers getting the 4th seed here, only because they don't beat the Astros out. I do think they would be the second best, obviously, over the AL Central.
You basically have it. Whoever wins the West is going to be
the second best.
Yeah, and then whoever it will be the 4th.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I have the Rangers there in the 4 seed, and I think it's going to be really fun because my 5 seed team is the Seattle Mariners. So we would have a series there between what would be the World Series defending Texas Rangers against the young and hungry Seattle Mariners, and that could be a lot of fun. I was looking at the Mariners pitching depth chart. It is good, man.
And in a playoff scenario,
scoff at it.
They're top 3 in a playoff series. Castillo, Kirby, and Gilbert. Man, which one are you looking forward to hitting?
Yeah, then they have Miller as well. That's a good little staff over there. That's a scary team they make it to the playoffs, and that's what they have to do. They have the Mitch and Mitch connection over there.
They do got
a lot of pop too.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have them taking the 5th seed, and I have my 6th seed going to the Toronto Blue Jays. So I also have the the Tampa Bay Rays, missing the playoffs this year. This is a very disappointing thing for me to say. The Rays have been a staple in the playoffs for the last nearly decade, right?
So we basically do have all the same
I think
teams.
we have all the same playoff teams, but in a lot of different order, and you do not have the Royals.
Yeah, I have the Tigers
You have
instead.
the Tigers instead, which I probably see finishing in 3rd.
Again?
Which I think is what you said about the Royals, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's interesting. We have very different outlooks on the AL Central, which is wide open, and there is a lot of talent there. It's just about which way they go this year.
Definitely. Now we'll get into the ALCS and World Series predictions. So for the playoffs, we're going to give the NL and ALCS and then our World Series predictions. First, the NLCS, I think it's going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. The deep rivalry of the Giants and Dodgers is going to be in the NLCS. You want to talk about a good story? There is no better story.
Mm-hmm. Where did you have them seated, the Giants?
The 5.
So you had them making it from the 5. They're going to have to beat out the Phillies there. Mm-hmm. That should be a battle. Yeah, they definitely could, man. That's very interesting.
Hey, man, the Giants added Blake Snell. They added Jorge Soler, Matt Chapman, Jordan Hicks, Robbie Ray, we can't forget, has won a Cy Young. They added 2 Cy Young Award winners this offseason, and they also have Logan Webb, who finished 2nd last year.
Yeah, you're right.
They've got a staff. They've got guys that could hit in that lineup. Jung-Ho Lee came over, the Korean star. I mean, I think the Giants are going to have a run this year. They're going to return to the NLCS.
Phenomenal offseason and a really fresh look on that. I will give my NLCS as well because it is exactly the same. I have the Dodgers and the Giants.
That's crazy. By the way, we don't know each other's picks beforehand. Like, we're just finding out right now.
We have not discussed any of these. I also have the Dodgers and the Giants. I have the Giants making it from the 6th seed, though. So I have them actually beating the Cubs, which is actually a great draw for them. I think it would be tougher if they had to face the Phillies.
Definitely.
So, I mean, you have them making it through what is a really good postseason
I think
squad.
the Giants are a good team, dude.
I have them sneaking by the Cubs there and then end up beating, I don't know, I would have to think about who they end up playing, but even whoever it is, I think they could beat and play a tough series, end up making it to the Dodgers and play that California series that we all want to see. That being said, we'll have to look a little bit further if I think they're going to win or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. So then we'll go over to the ALCS. I have the Baltimore Orioles ending the chance of a repeat, and they beat the Texas Rangers. I think it's going to be different than last year. I know the Rangers beat the Orioles on their run. They were the 101 win seed, or the 1 seed, and the Rangers came in after blowing the doors off the Rays, and they beat their ass as well. I don't think it's going to go the same way this year because they've got Corbin Burns now.
Yes, they do.
They've got guys like Craig Kimbrell out there now. I mean, they've got Jackson Holiday for a full season. You'd assume he's going to get called up soon. After
I mean, it's gonna be like 2 weeks maybe.
The reigning Rookie of the Year, Gunnar Henderson. I mean, Adley Rutschman. This team is going to be really, really good this year, and I have the Baltimore Orioles over the Texas Rangers to go to the World Series.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. So
my World Series is Dodgers-Orioles.
To clear it up, you had the Dodgers over the Giants, same as me.
Yes.
I actually don't think that one is going to go too deep either. We didn't say our games, but I think the Dodgers will kind of handle the Giants once they get there. I
don't know.
I think it'll be a bit of a battle.
I think
the games will be close, but the Dodgers will take the games because of the depth of that lineup.
I am a bit higher on the Giants than you, so we'll see.
Definitely. I mean, you had them seated a couple spots higher. One spot higher, yeah. You had them in the 5 instead of the 6 there. Me for the American League as well. I personally had the Orioles taking on the Astros. This feels like a lineup that just kind of happens, or kind of needs to happen. We've been waiting on it.
Basically just got the Astros where I have the Rangers.
Literally, yes. And it kind of is crazy because we had that throughout this, except that I had the Orioles as the best team in the American League, and you had the Rangers taking that with the Orioles taking second.
Yep.
But it should be interesting to see. I have the Orioles and the Astros here. I think the young core of the Orioles, the story here is going to be that they aren't so experienced, but they are still beating these teams that have so much experience. Like you said, the Texas Rangers, who are coming off this World Series championship. I have them beating the multi-time champion Houston Astros as well here. So my World Series is the same as yours.
You've got the ALCS streak continuing for the Astros to 7 years in a row.
I do. Yeah.
I have it ending.
But I do have Dodgers versus Orioles, so we have the same exact World Series.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first for this?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go first real quick. This is Bill talking, if you don't know, but this is Dodgers versus Orioles, and I have the Baltimore Orioles winning in 7 games. I think it is going to be an absolute battle. This is the evil empire of all of this money, all of the deferrals, and all of the what you want to say, scandal that is going on with Ohtani and all of that. The big bad Los Angeles Dodgers will be taking on really who has not talked about too much in national media, the Baltimore Orioles, who has a pretty clean image, just a young team built within themselves, and I think they beat them in 7 games. It's going to be one of the greatest stories we see.
Yeah, this is where we're going to differ here, though. I have the Los Angeles Dodgers beating the Baltimore Orioles, and all of their money that they spent will be well spent, and they are going to be raising that trophy this year. I can't imagine them not winning it. I have it in 6 over the Orioles.
You got the bad guys winning, and pretty handily.
I mean, it's hard to view them as the bad guy, man, because like everybody's trying to win. They just found a way to finesse it.
Yeah,
if every team could do what they did, they absolutely would, and I won't believe any other way.
Yeah, that's just kind of the thing. The fact that they have that the location that they're at, the branding that they have, and they all of the money that they have. Yeah, they took advantage of it, and that is kind of what makes them the bad guy.
They are going to be the villain of the season, but yes. Okay, I mean, to answer your question, yes, I do have the villain of the season winning the World Series.
Man, Empire Strikes Back's a phenomenal film, and that's what we would be watching.
Some people say it's the best.
I kind of think it is myself, so that's what we would be seeing here. I mean, Revenge of the Sith, the bad guys win. Empire Strikes Back, the bad guys win, and that's what you have going on this MLB season. The Dodgers win.
So I have the Dodgers over the Orioles in 6, and you've got the Orioles over the Dodgers in 7.
Yeah, it should be a phenomenal year, man.
Very interesting.
So much talent on the board, and this young core of the Orioles and the veteran, really well-paid core of the Dodgers, we're going to see.
Yeah, so now we'll get into the award predictions before we wrap up the episode. We're going to start with the National League Awards, and we're just going to start with the biggest one available, the National League MVP. I've got it going to Mookie Betts this year. I think he's going to be pitched to a lot because, quite frankly, they have to. If you don't pitch to Mookie, you got to pitch to Freddie or you got to pitch to Shohei, Freddie, Will Smith. You got to pick your poison, and we saw in the second game, Mookie already had a 6 RBI game this year. I don't think he's going to slow down. He was really close to winning last year if it wasn't for Acuna having a freaking 40-70. That's never happened. Mookie would have won the MVP. So I think he gets his second MVP this year for the World Series champion Dodgers, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mookie last year took in every second-place vote, and he was a phenomenal ball player. He wins that 10 out of 10 times if history isn't made.
Exactly.
In the East. So, yeah, it's a great pick. I agree.
So my next one is the National League Cy Young, and I'm giving this award to Logan Webb of the San Francisco Giants. He came in second last year behind Blake Snell, who's now his teammate. Yeah. And I just think, man, he's just going to piece it together. I'm really high on the Giants. I'm realizing as I'm reading these, like, I think the Giants are going to be very good this year.
I'm surprised you didn't have them as the 4th seed with how high you are on them, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think I think the Phillies are going to the Phillies are just going to be a little bit better just because they've been there the last couple of years, but I could fully see them being the 4 seed.
Yeah, I mean, you have Logan Webb propelling them, having a Cy Young season and getting them to the playoffs. I mean, good call.
Yeah, that splitter, man, it's disgusting.
We both have them in the championship series.
Yep, so I mean, we both think that they're going to be good. I've got a little bit more on them.
It's an even year, folks.
Yeah. Then we're going to go over to the National League Manager of the Year, and I'm going to go with Craig Counsell. Of the Chicago Cubs now. I think that's why I have them winning their division. I think he's going to be a big reason why. He is a very good manager. They think he's a very good manager because they made him the highest paid manager ever. So I think their price tag is going to pay off this year. The Cubbies are going to win the Central, and Craig Counsell is going to be your National League Manager of the Year.
Yeah, fair enough.
Then we're going to get to the NL Rookie of the Year. I know his first start was really, really, really rough. It was overseas, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he's going to get home in L.A. He's going to get comfortable. I'm giving the Rookie of the Year to Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Interesting, considering all we've seen so far. We've seen nothing but struggle.
I know. He struggled, but we know that he's good. We've seen his numbers in Japan. He can't be a 9 ERA guy in the big leagues. There's just no way. I think he's going to figure it out, and I think he's going to win the Rookie of the Year.
No way? I guess we will see.
It would be appalling.
Yes, it
in
would.
My opinion.
Yes, it would, because what is that, $32 million a year AAV?
$325 million for 12 years. That would be a rough investment if he is not good. So I think he will be okay, and I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. He'll bounce back, and he's going to win the Rookie of the Year. And then lastly, we threw this in just for it to be like kind of fun. The home run leader for the National League. I don't care if you say it's biased. He's the best power hitter in the world, in my opinion. I'm giving the NL home run leader to Pete Alonso.
Hard to call that one biased. I mean, I could somewhat see people saying it for picking them to go to the playoffs, but Pete Alonso simply just out homers basically everybody since he's debuted.
He has.
Yeah, it is everybody.
It is
right?
everybody.
Yeah, it's literally everybody since he's debuted, which was 2018. So I mean, that's a long stretch of out homering everybody. He's probably the best power hitter in the game, if not
since
top
he's debuted,
3 for sure.
Since he's debuted, he is the best power hitter in the game, and I have him reclaiming the home run crown.
Yeah, hard to disagree with you there. I will get into my picks now. This is Bill's picks for the National League Awards for 2024. My NL MVP is very much like yours. This is a guy who shows up every day and does the work. He's a stud every part of the game. Mookie Betts. I mean, if history isn't made, he wins it 10 out of 10 times last year. I think this year, no history is going to be made.
I was torn, though. I was close. I almost gave it to Acuna again.
That was what I was thinking as well, would be a back-to-back, but I hope this year that Mookie is the one who reclaims it.
I also thought about giving Bryce Harper some thought.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that could definitely happen. He sneaks in and gets it. He's
a first baseman. Now he's a first baseman. Now he can focus on hitting more. I mean, and he didn't look terrible at defensively at first. So.
Plays a very solid first base. I know that's an overlooked thing, but his defense is solid.
I thought about him as well. I thought about Freddie, but I just think Mookie, you, is going to be the guy that gets it done.
So me and you both have Mookie Betts, excuse me. But my NL Cy Young here, man. This is very different from you. I think the 33-year-old, which is the same age as Garrett Cole, just to note that, who just won a Cy Young, Zach Wheeler.
Oof.
Yeah, in Philadelphia, will finally claim it, man. If you look at his baseball reference page, last year he had a really good season, had a 3.45 ERA. The 3 years before that, he's in the mid to high 2s.
Yeah.
He's going to find his groove here. He's 33. He is the established ace of this staff. He has now been given the opening day nod. This is his team. I think he's about to run away with it.
Very good pick. I mean, Zach Wheeler has become a bona fide ace since going to the Philadelphia Phillies. He is their ace now, like you just mentioned. He's getting the nod tomorrow, which is awesome to see for him. Congratulations to Zach Wheeler. It's always
tough as a Met fan seeing how successful he's been with the Phillies, but exactly.
It's our own fault.
It is the Mets' fault for not bringing him back, and to see him thrive, and he always had that in him. You can see the flashes of greatness. Couple pitcher of the months with the Mets, and now much more than that.
And he is an absolute machine in the playoffs too. That's why they're so good these last 2 years, because Wheeler and Nola just are nails.
Probably pitched the best ball of his life last year in the playoffs.
Suarez, too, man. Their top three is nails in the playoffs every year. My
NL Cy Young is Zach Wheeler to your Logan Webb.
I respect.
My NL Rookie of the Year, this is a pretty interesting one because you gave it to Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I have what is kind of a rival also coming over here. I have given it to the Cubs, Shota Imanaga.
Wow.
I give it to the lefty. They're a really great splitter, and he translates better to the NL game to the MLB game than Yamamoto really has so far. We've seen it.
In the small sample size, I mean, it's hard to disagree. Yamamoto's gotten slapped.
Not to mention, there is a lot less pressure on him playing in a place like Chicago. That is a pitcher's ballpark as well. I mean, I think kind of LA is too, but either way, I think both of them will have solid seasons. I have Imanaga edging them out, and we both have pitchers winning that.
And we both have the Cubs winning the Central, so you'd have to think that he'd be a decent part of that.
Yeah, probably at some point moving up to what would be the 2. What do they have him starting as, like the 4?
I think he's the 4 right now, but that always changes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a team with a lot of veterans over there, so they're trying to give him some time to watch and learn and then settle in, which might actually benefit him.
Also, what people don't realize with these Japanese guys is they pitch on like a 6-day schedule in Japan, and now it's a 5-day, so they might be trying to like get him stretched out a little bit more. The Mets did it last year with Senga, and I mean, I would say it worked pretty damn well.
Phenomenally as he pitched into the 2s and strikeouts and
the 200s. Yeah,
phenomenal season.
I'd say it worked out pretty damn well.
So I've got Imanaga and you've got Yamamoto. My NL Manager of the Year is going to the LA Dodgers, Dave Roberts. I think they're going to give it to him on default. This is going to be a year, like we said, I think they're going to hang around 105, 110 wins, and how do you not give it to Dave Roberts?
The reason is because of how stacked their roster is. That's why I couldn't give it to him.
Yeah, but when you look at this,
because one of us could manage that team. You know that, right?
Maybe you could say that, but when you look at what happens in the rest of this league, you have the Braves who, they're going to be around there, but the Dodgers would be far superior, and then the Cubs getting the 3rd seed.
If they go out and like break the wins record, you have to give it to them.
If they're around 110 wins, I don't see how you don't give it to Dave Roberts. I don't see how you don't.
Fair enough.
I personally think they're going to give it to Dave Roberts, and I think it's going to end up being one of those no-brainers where you look at it and you're like, yeah, the Cubs had a good year, the Braves had a good year, these teams had good years, but none of them did what the Dodgers did this year. So we end up giving it to Dave Roberts. And my NL home run leader is the same as you. It is Pete Alonso, the polar bear. I got him taking it. I don't think it's crazy to say, and I think it's probably going to end up being either him or Alonso. I was
between 4 people. I was between Pete Alonso, Matt Olson, Shohei Ohtani, and then Kyle Schwarber again.
Yeah, fair enough. But I got Pete Alonso taking this. I think he's going to have a phenomenal year now. He's got some protection in the lineup with J.D. Martinez coming through and Francisco Lindor above him. Should be a really good year of swinging the bat.
Definitely. Now we'll get into the American League picks. So just like the National League, I'm going to start with the American League MVP. My pick this year is the Houston Astros, Yordan Alvarez. I think he's going to have a monster year. I mean, we know he's one of the best hitters on the planet. And he's going to be a big reason why the Astros, who I think have pitching issues, are going to be lifted up because their lineup is still going to be nasty. They still have Altuve, Bregman, Yordan, Tuck. So I think Yordan is going to, now that Ohtani's out of the American League, I think Big Yordan's going to step up and claim that MVP.
Now, do you have him stepping up his defensive game to a certain extent, or do you have him pure hitting to this title?
Pure hitting. I think he's going to hit like 45 to 50 home runs this year.
Well, fair enough. I mean, we had a homer king. I mean, to think if you have him at 45 to 50, I got to think maybe he's that guy.
We'll get there. But the next one we get to is the American League Cy Young. I've got this going to my boy Pablo Lopez. I am a huge fan of Pablo Lopez on the Minnesota Twins. He looked great last year in the regular season, looked even better in the playoffs, was a big reason why they won that first wild card series. He shoved. And I have him claiming his first Cy Young.
Yeah, I mean, the AL is wide open when you look at it. Garrett Cole's going to miss a month or 2 at least. And I mean,
at that point, it's kind of hard to get in the race.
Hard to think you would even be able to at that point. You can.
Guys like Verlander.
It would take other people getting hurt. Yeah, he's also banged up. So
DeGrom's
it's pretty wide open. I do see why you gave it to him. It would be interesting to see a Minnesota Twin bring it home.
The next one is the AL Manager of the Year, and I'm giving this to Detroit Tigers manager A.J. Hinch. I've got them winning the division, and, I mean, how could you not give it to them? Because if he comes up and wins that division, I mean, you're smirking over there because I think I know what you did. It's probably the same thing I did just for the Royals. But, yeah, I've got Hinch winning it because I've got the Tigers winning the Central. Next is the American League Rookie of the Year. I've got Wyatt Langford taking this from the Texas Rangers. He made it out of camp, broke camp with them. He's going to be an everyday player in their lineup. I've heard some people refer to this guy as the next Mike Trout.
Wow. So when is that where he's playing center?
He's starting in left.
Okay.
Like Trout
did.
So, I mean, I think that's a crazy comparison because Trout's one of the best players we've seen, like, in our lifetimes, personally.
Oh, definitely.
He might be the best we've seen start to finish of his career in our lifetime. So I don't. That's a highly respectable comparison if people really believe that. So, I mean, he just led spring training in RBI. He had 20.
I like that pick with the Rangers giving him the nod on the starting opening day roster, so he'll have a full season to run this down.
And again, it ties in. The Rangers being the 1 seed. I think guys like Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter and these new guys are going to step up for the Rangers.
A lot of pressure coming as the World Series champion. So
this guy was drafted last year. He already made the team.
Exactly. He's coming.
He don't care about pressure.
You don't think so? He's coming onto the World Series champion team. It's very different when you get into MLB regular season.
Did you see the way he just hit in spring training?
It gets very different when you get to the regular season, and these games matter.
That's very true, and we will see how it translates to now the regular season, which begins tomorrow. Thank God. I can't wait.
It's going to be so fun to watch, specifically even at that team and Wyatt Langford.
Yep. And then finally, you kind of spoiled it before I kind of spoiled it with giving the number that I think he's going to hit. But the American League home run leader I have this year is going to Yordan Alvarez. I think he's just going to mash like he usually does. I think he's going to step up a little bit more. Yeah,
so you basically have Yordan Alvarez carrying the Astros to the playoffs as the 6th seed.
I won't say carrying because they still do have like Altuve, Tucker, Bregman.
You got him as MVP and the home run leader, and they slip in as 6th seed.
He's going to be a huge reason.
Going to have to be, yeah. So you basically have them being an offensive juggernaut and that pitching struggling throughout the year.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens with them, but their staff just doesn't pop my eyes a lot. I mean, I love Christian Javier. I like Hunter Brown, but we just got to see it.
Yeah, that is very true.
I got to see it.
I will get into my awards now. These are my AL picks, Bills picks here for the AL. My AL MVP for 2024 is going to be Kansas City Royals shortstop Bobby Witt Jr.
You know what's funny? I actually considered it.
I looked at the list. What was he, 5th or 6th? He was behind Yandy Diaz. A couple of guys he could definitely jump. And this is Bobby Witt Jr.'s year. Like I broke his numbers down before. 276, had 30 homers, nearly 60 steals. I mean, he's one of 96 RBIs.
He's one of 6 shortstops to ever have a 30-30 season.
Mm-hmm. So. And I have Bobby Witt Jr., the young stud. First year of this new extension, I don't even think it's really kicked in yet, but the extension it will be kicking in soon, and he'll be here for a long time. Bobby Witt Jr. takes home an award and puts it on the mantle.
I'm not even going to hate on the pick because I considered it, and I have them finishing 3rd in the division. You got them winning it, so you got to be a little bit higher than me, so honestly, it makes sense.
Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. going to be an absolute stud.
That would be
starter.
That would be a really, really cool MVP.
Yeah, it would, man. I'm telling you. So, I mean, my picks right now are Mookie Betts, who would be playing shortstop, and Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop. It would be a really interesting year.
And I have the other guy that I was considering between Bobby Witt also was J-Rod in Seattle.
Yeah, decent pick. He was up there last year as well. I think he ended up coming in 3rd or 4th. So
I think he'll be up there as well. But yeah, I've got Yordan and you've got Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, Bobby Witt Jr. going to be a huge year for the Royals. Lock in on them. I've got more blue on the ledger when I look at the AL Cy Young because I've got Kevin Gausman with one of the best splitters in the game. Kevin Gausman is coming. He is healthy just in time for opening day.
Love to hear it.
And he is probably going to, what I see happening, lock in for a full season of being the ace of the 6th seed Toronto Blue Jays.
Yeah, I mean, he finished, 2nd or 3rd last year?
3rd last year.
So,
probably 2nd last year. I think it went Sonny Gray and then him.
No, Cole won.
So Cole. Oh, never mind. Cole, Sonny Gray, and then him. Yeah. So third, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, I could fully see him bumping up 2 spots. I have Webb going from 2 to 1. You've got Gosman going from 3 to 1.
Yeah, we end up seeing Gosman win that hopefully this year. My AL Rookie of the Year, it will be a couple weeks till we see him, but I've got Jackson Holiday because it really will only be it's either 10 days or 2 weeks on the dot.
It's something like that. He'll be up before May.
Yeah, no significant time missed, and I think he's going to lock in. If you looked at his spring training numbers, it was just stupid, hitting like 345 or something.
Yeah,
OPS was in the thousands. It's outrageous he's not on the team.
People were shocked that he didn't make the team, but it's the age-old service time manipulation that these teams do, like we saw with Chris Bryant back in the day.
Especially when the Rangers let Wyatt Langford on the team at 22. It's disrespectful to do this, I think. But, I mean, if that's how they're going to run it, they are the Baltimore Orioles, like I've said. I mean, the reason I have them being the ultimate heroes of this is because they're not a team that spends money, but they're still able to win that. They're using their service time manipulation, but I do think that Jackson Holiday is going to come and have a monster season for them and take home the Rookie of the Year.
Fair enough.
My AL Manager of the Year here will be the Royals manager, Matt Quatraro. It is going to be a huge year for the Royals. Like I have said so many times in this episode, Bobby Witt Jr. is the MVP. They win their division, and the Manager of the Year is Matt Quatraro. That this is their Orioles year essentially, except they're not winning 100 games because that's just not happening.
That's definitely a bold way to go about it. I respect it, I guess.
It is the year of the Royal, baby, and not to mention I got some fun series going on. I got the Royals taking on the Blue Jays in the first round there. They could even win that. They could be going to the second round, and then that might be it for them at that point, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I got the Manager of the Year going to the Royals, Matt Quatraro. Let's see it, baby. Let's lock in. AL home run leader, I've got it being a New York show. This is Aaron Judge's trophy to lose here, man. This guy was banged up last year and had 37 homers. He was like 3rd or 4th on the list last year, and he barely played when you look at it in the grand scheme of things compared to everyone else. When he blocks in for a full season, and he is healthy for opening day, that's what he said, he will be having to maintain that toe injury, but if he does that, he'll be hitting homers all year in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, if he's healthy, it's hard to disagree that he'll be at the top or near the top. So
yeah, I got Pete Alonso and Aaron Judge for the home run champion. Should be fun to watch that in New York.
Yeah, and I've got Pete Alonso and Yordan Alvarez.
But I do have both New York teams missing the playoffs. You have the Mets making it, not the Yankees. So, I mean, it'll be a fun show to watch in some respects.
Definitely. So that was all of our predictions. We could we'll see how this racks out at the end of the year. But you've got some bold ones. We've got a lot of similarities, honestly, just different seeds and whatnot. But I can't believe you've attached yourself to the Royals wagon.
It is the year of the Royals, baby.
That's crazy.
At the end of the day, Orioles over Dodgers in 7.
And I am the Dodgers over the Orioles in 6.
Thank you to everybody for listening to our 2024 prediction episode. We will be tweeting our predictions live in screenshot form so you can keep track of them all season. Should be a fun season to watch, and tomorrow is opening day. This was episode 85 of the 9 Frames podcast. It is Wednesday, March 27th, 2024. I've been Bill Whalen.
And I've been Mike Whalen.
Be sure to catch us, as always, on YouTube at 9 Frames Podcast. Our Spotify is 9 Frames, and our X is at 9 Frames Pod. Please follow us on there. Subscribe, like, comment, and share if you enjoy the show.
Yeah, we appreciate it as always, and this was a fun little episode to get to do the day before everybody else kicks into action. The Dodgers and Padres already have 2 under their belts, but everybody else gets going tomorrow, knock on wood. Hopefully the Mets don't get postponed to Friday, but
yeah.
Regardless, most of the league will be playing tomorrow, and it's very exciting to see.
Got some bold picks in this episode, some not so bold picks as well. That's bound to happen, but should be a fun season of baseball this year.
And feel free to let us know about your predictions in the comments to the tweet, wherever you guys want. We appreciate the support as always, like I say.
Have a good rest of your week and enjoy the season.
We'll see you Friday probably for the first episode of the regular season.